Welcome to BVT Lectures, course MAJMC, MAJEM, Net. MJM-020 Introduction to Journalism and Mass Communication. Block 1 Introduction to Communication. Unit 2 Models of Communication. 2.0 Introduction. In this unit, we'll explore different models of communication, starting from the basic ones and then moving to more complex models. Through these models, we'll understand how communication actually works, step by step, including key elements like noise, feedback, context, shared experience, and balance. We'll also see how these factors influence the effectiveness of a message, and by the end, we'll critically look at these models to see what they explain well and what they miss, opening new ways to understand the communication process. 2.2 Communication Models. Communication is not just talking, it's a complete process. It involves many people, many stages, and the creation and sharing of messages. To understand this complex process, we use communication models. These models are like maps or diagrams that help us see how communication works, who sends the message, how it travels, and how it is received. According to Harold Lasswell, 1948, communication can be explained by answering 5 simple questions. Who, the sender or communicator, says what, the message, in which channel, the medium, like TV, radio, or social media, to whom, the receiver or audience, with what effect, the impact or result of the message. So, this model focuses on the effect. Did the message create the desired response? In short, communication models help us understand, explain, and improve how messages move and influence people. 2.3 Shannon and Weaver's mathematical model of communication. This model was developed by Claude Shannon and Warren Weaver at Bell Telephone Laboratories. They were engineers, not social scientists, so their focus was on how communication works technically, like a telephone system. Basic idea: communication is seen as a linear process, a one-way flow of information. Process 1. Information source, where the message starts. 2. Transmitter, converts the message into a signal. 3. Channel, the medium through which the signal travels. 4. Receiver, converts the signal back into a message. 5. Destination, the person who receives and understands the message. Example: in a telephone call, your voice message becomes an electric signal. Transmitter travels through wires, channel is converted back into sound by the receiver, and reaches the listener. Destination. Key concept: noise. Noise is anything that disturbs the message during transmission. It can be physical noise, static, background sound, bad connection. Semantic noise, misunderstanding of meaning. 3 levels of problems. 1. Technical problem, issue in transmission, e.g., unclear audio. 2. Semantic problem, misunderstanding meaning, e.g., language issue. 3. Effectiveness problem, message received but doesn't create desired effect, e.g., boring lecture not inspiring learning. Summary: Shannon and Weaver's model focuses on accuracy, efficiency, and clarity in communication. It's often called the engineering model of communication because it treats communication like a technical process, sending information from one point to another with minimum error. 2.4 Osgood and SCHRAMM'S model of communication. Let's understand the Osgood and SCHRAMM'S model of communication, one of the most important two-way models. Back in 1954, Charles E. Osgood explained that communication is not a one-way street. It's actually a two-way, circular process, where both the sender and the receiver keep exchanging messages. So first, the sender encodes a message and sends it. The receiver decodes it, understands it, and then gives a response or feedback. Now the receiver becomes the sender, and the cycle continues. Later, in 1971, Wilbur Schramm expanded this idea and highlighted the importance of feedback. He said feedback makes communication interactive and continuous. It never really starts or ends, it just keeps flowing. Schramm also introduced a very important idea, the field of experience. That means, for communication to be effective, both people need to share some common background or understanding. For example, if I say, lift, and you only know the word elevator, you might get confused. That's called semantic noise, when the meaning gets lost because of different experiences. So in short, communication is two-way and circular. Feedback keeps it going. Shared experience helps avoid confusion. That's the Osgood and Schramm model of communication, 1954 and 1971. 2.5 BERLO'S model of communication. BERLO'S explained communication through four key elements: source, message, channel, and receiver, also called the SMCR model. Source, S, the person who sends the message. Their communication skills, knowledge, attitude, and social background affect how the message is created. Message, M. What the source wants to share, its content, structure, and treatment matter. Channel, C. The medium through which the message travels, like seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, or smelling. Receiver, R. The person who gets and interprets the message, based on their own skills, knowledge, and attitude. So, communication in BERLO'S model is a linear process, from sender to receiver, focusing on how effectively the message is encoded and decoded. 2.6 GERBNER'S model of communication. George Gerbner added a new idea to communication, the role of perception and meaning. He showed that what we see, reality, and what we understand or communicate are not the same. Gerbner's model has two main parts. 1. Perceptual dimension, how we see and interpret an event. 2. Communicative dimension, how we express and share that interpretation. Let's break it down. It starts with an event, E, something that happens in reality. A person or machine, M, perceives it and forms a personal version of it called E1. This depends on M's experience, culture, and point of view. Then M sends a message, S, E, about the event. That's the signal or communication part. But SE is never a full reflection of E1. It's selective and shaped by the medium or channel. The receiver, M2, then interprets the message SE and creates SE1, their own version of meaning. So finally, reality equals E. Sender's perception equals E1. Message equals SE. Receiver's perception equals SE1. Key idea. Gerbner shows that communication is not a mirror of reality. It's a process of perception, selection, and interpretation. Different people see and understand the same event differently. 2.7 NEWCOMB'S model. NEWCOMB'S model is shaped like a triangle, showing the relationship between A, B, and X. A equals sender or communicator. B equals receiver or audience. X equals the topic or part of their shared social environment. Together, they form an ABX system, where all three are interconnected. If A changes their view about X, then B may also need to adjust their attitude to maintain balance or equilibrium in the system. So, communication helps both sides stay aligned and maintain social harmony. Example: if A is the government, B is the public, and X is an economic crisis, then both need to communicate more to understand and handle the situation together. Key idea: NEWCOMB'S model shows that communication is not just about sending messages, it's about maintaining social balance and shared understanding in society. 2.8 Wesley and MacLean's model. This model, designed by Wesley and MacLean in 1957. This model explains how mass communication works, like in newspapers, radio, and television. It's an extension of NEWCOMB'S model, but with an important new element: C equals gatekeeper. Main elements: X equals source of information, events, facts, environment. A equals sender, journalist, reporter. C equals gatekeeper, editor, producer, media controller. B equals audience, public. F equals feedback. Example: a reporter, A, gathers news from many sources, X1, X2, X3, and sends it to the editor. C. The editor decides what to publish, what to modify, or what to reject, acting as a filter. Finally, the audience, B, receives only the selected information. Key idea: the audience depends on mass media for information. Gatekeepers decide what information reaches the public. Communicators don't create messages from scratch. They select and relay parts of reality. Real-world use. This model fits not only news media but also TV, internet, film, festivals, or content platforms, where curators or editors choose what the audience gets to see. Takeaway: Wesley and MacLean's model shows how media filters reality before it reaches the audience, making the role of the gatekeeper central in communication. 2.9 Jakobson's model. Roman Jakobson, a linguist, developed this model to go beyond simple message transmission. He emphasized meaning, context, and shared codes in communication. The model identifies 6 key elements, each with a specific function. 1. Addressor, emotive, shows the sender's feelings and attitudes. 2. Message, poetic, focuses on the style or aesthetics of communication. 3. Addressee, connotative, aims to influence or persuade the receiver. 4. Context, referential, provides factual information, describes reality. 5. Contact, phatic, maintains the connection between sender and receiver. 6. Code, metalingual, refers to the shared language or rules used in communication. Key point: not all 6 functions are always equally important. Some messages may emphasize one function over others. For example, poetry may prioritize the poetic function, while emotional speech may focus on the emotive function. 2.10 A critique of transmission perspective. 1. What is it? This perspective comes from Harold Lasswell's model. Who says what to whom, through which channel, and with what effect? It treats communication like sending a package. The message moves linearly from sender to message to receiver. Dennis McQuail says here, the message is determined by the source, and the audience is mostly passive. Example: a TV news anchor delivering a story. Communication is just sent and expected to have an effect. 2. Problems with transmission perspective. Looks only at cause to effect. Ignores audience. Interpretation. Favors the sender's power. 3. The ritual, or expressive model, James Carey. Communication isn't just about sending info, it's about shared culture and meaning. Purpose, 2. Maintain, repair, and transform reality through shared symbols, not just to persuade. Example: a cooking oil ad shows a mother frying porridge for her children. It's not just selling oil, it's reinforcing cultural ideas of love, care, and nurturing. 4. Constructivist models. Meaning isn't fixed. It can be created and interpreted by everyone involved. Communication depends on social, cultural, and political context, not just diagrams or linear flow. Key takeaway: transmission models equals one-way, sender-focused, ritual, and constructivist models equals interactive, meaning-focused. In short, communication is more than just sending messages. It's creating and sharing meaning. 2.11 Let us sum up. In this unit, we learned how communication works using different models. These models help us visualize and understand the flow of communication. Each model highlights important elements, and over time, models have become more complex, raising new questions and encouraging further research.